Welcome to Bubba's Bracket Busters, here with Spectrum, Showtime on NBC tournament analysts and bracketologists Brian Keshinger and Ben Tarhan. We're here to give you our thoughts on the opening round of the tournament and find out who the esteemed Bubba has winning each matchup. So we're going to go one by one, starting with one that's very close to my heart. I'm playing in the opening game against Lisa Corey, who just won her first round play-in game against Sarah Di Natale. Guys, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I thought Lisa looked really good in her playing game against Sarah. It was a close game. She pulled away at the end, showed some real grit in the fourth quarter there, coming out on top. Honestly, though, bouncing you in the first round is going to be a real big order for her. So, she's going to bring her A game. You got to bring your A game too.
Yeah, I feel like she came out a little soft against Sarah, but she definitely incited some fire toward the end of that game there. And like you said, her grit really showed. She started to get real into it there. She started pushing the ball, started getting the three ball going a little bit there. So it's definitely an interesting matchup between you and Lisa, but I definitely think you obviously have the upper hand with your experience.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my thoughts out of this one for obvious reasons other than to say that I'm going to win. But we're going to go to Bubba for the actual prediction for this game. Bubba, who's going to win this one?
Aaron Mansfield.
That's what I thought. All right, moving on. Next up, we got Madeleine Britt versus Brian Winchittle.
High fashion.
High fashion in the 8 versus 9 matchup. No one really knows what to expect. Two real youngsters here, guys. What have you seen in your scouting?
Madeleine, she had a couple practice matches. She struggled a little bit at first, but she really has that lucky long-range three ball that's going for her. She can get it to drop from about 3/4 court, and that might be her dagger right there. Versus Brian Winchittle, who high fashion, he's sort of a dark horse here. We're not really sure what to expect out of him. Got a lot of competitiveness out of him, and certainly a lot of talk. So we'll have to see.
Ben?
I agree with Brian. I mean, Madeleine's played a few matchups, probably the most of the non-experienced, the non-returners this year, and she's looked pretty good. She's gotten better as time's gone on. I gotta say about Brian though, is he's got some confidence. He's got some balls. So he's going to go out there and he's going to give it his best, and he's really putting himself on the line here, going in there without any practice, but maybe it'll pay off.
Very important this time of year to have just that, balls. You need balls to move forward. Let's go to Bubba to find out who's going to win this one. Bubba, who do you got?
Madeleine Britt.
Oh, wow.
Wow, there
Confidence
it is.
will not pay off for high fashion.
No, not this year.
No upset this time.
Moving forward, we have Ben Tarhan here versus Jordan Young Grossman. Not really sure what we're going to get out of Grossman, but it's one of those 4-13 matchups where the 13 is always dangerous. Brian, what are your thoughts on this one?
Tarhan really struggles sometimes. He sort of plays down to his competition and also plays up. So, this one could certainly come down to the wire. It could be a real barn burner here, even though it is a 4 versus 13. Tarhan's very experienced, but we'll have to see. I think it's going to be a very late game type of matchup there.
Tarhan.
I mean, I don't want to put too much of my opinion in here. I just like to say about these matchups against the inexperienced players, you have to go with something that's simple. We have what we like to call the strat that Brian's been running recently, and when you're playing against more experienced people that know how to play the game, it works a little bit better, I think. So I'm going to try to stick to something a little bit simpler, a little more classic, and just try to get a bunch of points on the board and let my defense do the rest.
Tarhan's one of those guys who I could see either losing in the first round or making it all the way to the championship, kind of like Kentucky was this year. Everyone knows he has the talent, but up here we're kind of questioning what's going on. So, Bubba, what do you got?
Ben Tarhan.
The experienced veteran. Moving on.
Pulling through.
Owen O'Brien plays Tom Dinky in a battle of sports editors in the next matchup. Ben, I know you've had a lot of experience dealing with both of these guys. What are some of their characteristics that you think will come into play in this one?
Well, neither of them played the game too much, but they both know their way around video games. They'll both be okay. Owen's taken part in the tournament before. I think that Owen's going to come out on top. I think it's just an experience thing at this point. I think Owen has the experience from the past, and also he's a little more confidence than Tom does in a game like this, and that's going to help him down the stretch in this game.
I really think Dinky might take this one, though. I mean, guy's kind of quiet around the office a little bit here and there, but he's definitely warmed up recently, and I think he might show some fire here. He might get excited over this, and really trounce Owen. I really do think Dinky might take this one.
Dinky seems to be the Harvard, if you will, of this round, whereas he's the underdog, but everyone seems to be picking him to win. However, I like Oop to pull through in this one. What really matters, though, is what Bubba thinks. So tell us, young wise frog.
Owen O'Brien.
Owen O'Brien.
Owen O'Brien, there it is.
Sports editors running the table here.
Future man.
Moving on, we got Brian Keshinger right here versus Meg the Brit. What do you got?
Well, I mean, Meg's a total wild card. You know, that was a real exciting. That's probably the most exciting of those first 3 games there with the buzzer beater, the full court buzzer beater to end the game, to pull ahead 51-48. I think she's gonna have her hands full with Brian though. Likewise, I think Brian's gonna have
I got big balls. Her hands will be filled.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to throw in here that Brian does have big balls, but also if this were a soccer game, I think I'd be picking Meg to go all the way. However, this is American basketball, which she didn't know anything about until this year. At the same time, when it comes to Showtime, sometimes the less you know, the better off you are.
Absolutely.
So we really aren't sure what she'll show up with in this, but we know that Kesh's strat has won him 25 straight games, so pretty dangerous contender right there.
Yeah.
Bubba, what are your thoughts?
Brian Kessinger.
All right, young Bubs, thank you. Moving on to our third to final matchup, we've got Joe Conzi versus Tress Klassen. We know who Bubba thinks is going to win this one, but I think we have some different feelings about it. We were talking with Bubs before the show today, but I really feel like Tress has a good shot at this one. I think she's a sleeper in this year.
I absolutely agree with that. When we were putting the bracket together, we actually highlighted this matchup as probably the most probable upset of the first round. I think Tress has some skills that we haven't seen, and you know, I think that she's really good.
I agree with that. I think she does.
I think she's gonna come through in a big way, and you know, no offense to Joe, but you know, he's been known to come a little bit short come tournament time before, so.
So Brian, what are your thoughts on this one? Bubba, who's gonna win, Conzi versus Tress?
Tarhan, your suit is crinkled. Joe Conzi.
Oh, wow.
Shocking that Bubba likes Conzi.
Shocking.
Something might be going on there. We're not really sure why Bubba likes Conzi so much. Moving on, we got Sam Fernando versus Chad Swole Cooper in the first round. We're still wondering whether Chad's fingers are too swole to handle the controller, but
Absolutely.
What do you guys think? Do you think they're nimble enough to maneuver around the joysticks?
I think he's definitely going to put up a good matchup here against Sam. You know, of the play-in winners against their new matchups, I think this is going to be the most exciting one. You know, this 3 seed versus this play-in game is going to be really exciting. I just think this Chad Sam matchup is just much more even than the other play-in winners games. You know, I think Chad could pull an upset, though Sam is a very seasoned veteran out there. You know, he's played a lot of Showtime in the past, and I don't know. I think this one's sort of questionable. It's sort of gray for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's definitely the most even of the playing games. I think Chaz also has a little chip on his shoulder. He was talking about before. He's kind of upset that he got seeded so low because he does play a decent amount of video games. But you know, also at the same time, Showtime really isn't like any other game, especially you know these newer games that are coming out now. It's an older
Functional.
game. Yeah, Showtime is barely functional.
All right, Bubba, tell us, who do you like, Sam or Chad?
Super Sam Fernando.
All right, so Sam will survive that one. And moving on to our final matchup of the day, which many feel will be the best one here. We're talking Amanda Lowe versus Anthony Hilbert. I know a lot of talk back and forth. A lot of people think Amanda is a sleeper in this tournament. At the same time, Anthony's been talking a lot of trash. So, which way are you guys veering in this?
Talk is cheap, man. You know, I've talked to Anthony. He hasn't said it explicitly, but I can feel he's scared. He's nervous about this game, and he should be. Amanda's nothing to bat eyelashes at. You know, Amanda's played a lot of games in the past. You know, she obtained the high seed through a lot of her different experiences, and I truly believe Amanda will pull through on this one. And, you know, even as a favorite, she's going to move through.
Yeah, I think definitely there's a couple things at play here. First time being in the tournament, but also, you know, just experience with video games in general. Amanda's probably not nervous. I don't know how much she's invested in the tournament, but I think Anthony has a lot. Anthony's, like I said, he's been talking a lot of trash. He's been saying a lot of things around the office about how he's going to, you know, win the whole thing. So, you know, that first game, he's got to come out strong from the get-go, because if he comes out with jitters and you know, doesn't come out strong, against Amanda, she's going to jump on him.
And what does Bubba think?
Amanda Lowe.
So we have Bubba's bracketology picks for the first round, guys. I want to thank you for joining me here today. I'm really looking forward to taking in the action this year. Obviously, going to be tons of upsets and tons of great finishes, as we've seen already with the playing game. So thank you for joining us. Be sure to stay tuned to our sister networks on Turner Broadcasting with TBS and True TV for all the live action throughout the tournament. You stay classy.